Well, hello again, one and all, and I have yet another review to cover. This time, it's a movie review, and it's rather old, and it's rather an old anime. Today, I will be covering Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind, or as they would say in Japanese, Nausicaa. So, a little thing about this movie, it is considered one of Hayao Miyazaki's masterpieces. And it tells a story about a princess by the name of Nausicaa. And she, under many, many years, have lived within her people in the Valley of the Wind. And the only thing, and it has remained peaceful for some good while until the Tolmekian army comes to show up. Now what the Tolmekian army does is that the Tolmekian army shows up for one purpose, and that one purpose is to forcefully liberate the people of the Valley of the Wind because of the Sea of Decay and the various insects that are breeded there. They see it as a threat, but the people in the Valley of the Wind don't see it as that. Although they do feel it is a threat to their way of existence, their way of living. Rather, their way of living. But the princess, she's normally, going about her business until the neighboring army of Tolmekia basically make a move, and her father, the old king, just takes a stand. He pulls out his sword, and he refuses to give up the Valley of the Wind for nobody. So he gets shot for it. Now there's a third party involved in this film, and that's the King of Palgite. And there was a captive on an escape ship. She died knowing there was a secret involved, and she died because she wanted to be free. Now, later on in the movie, as Nausicaa makes the journey to Palgite, along with the Tolmekian princess and a few of some loyal supporters from the Valley of the Wind, they actually make it there unaware that her second in command, the counselor, basically is calling the shots, and naturally he picks up this giant monster called Giant Warrior, and it's one of the legendary seven giant warriors as deemed in the past. Now, the problem lies in the hatred against what happened. You see, she meets the sister of the not the sister, but the brother of the captive, and they somehow get along, as with most Miyazaki movies are. And namely, I like to think that there was something going on too. So they find a way to get out of this little situation they're in, Their ride somewhat crashed, or rather sunk beneath the quicksand, and with that, they find a way out of this whole situation. So she is fascinated by this place. She is so happy. She basically lays there on the sand, on the soft sands, and she cries. She's very happy. She's never seen anything like this. But you know, in the end is quite a sight. I mean, the end is just, it's so powerful and moving. And the shell beings, the giant shelled insects that look like giant caterpillars, they're called ohms. That's H-O, no, not H-O, that's O-H-M-U, Om, you know, that's you know, that sort of thing. But aside from that, I'll say this: if you've ever seen a movie of this caliber, like say Tenku no Shiro Laputa, or otherwise known as Castle in the Sky. If you've ever seen Castle in the Sky, then you'll notice there's a lot going on with as far as the storyline is the same way, and even Princess Mononoke has the same kind of story in a sense, because it has something to do with, you have natural rule and natural law. So basically, the whole movie is about natural rule versus natural law. And natural rule is dominion. So the point that Nausicaa flew into a fit after seeing her father die, and afterwards she basically decided, nobody's worth the sacrifice. So she just willingly just gave up her kingdom until there was a way to actually make a comeback. And then you got the natural order or the natural law. Basically, harm none. You harm none. Basically, it's like this: the ohms are basically there as a part of nature. Tomekia saw this as a threat because the people were living near this area for so long. It's like they're quite used to it. So when told, oh well, we could get rid of this for you, but the only thing is you have to bow before me. You have to bow before me, and therefore, if you do this, I guarantee we'll get rid of that. And that's when the old lady, the old sage, Obaba, shows up and she says, no, we can't do that. It's a part of nature. We can't do that. So therefore, you have dominance versus nature. Now, like I mentioned, you harm none. That's the natural law of nature. You live and let live. That's the rule. You live and let live. I mean, it's all part of nature. So therefore, if certain being sees you as a threat, they'll let you know. If you're deemed as hostile, they'll let you know. And that means you got two choices. You back off very slowly, or you defend yourself. In any case, if there was no way to negotiate that, I'm a very safe person, then I'm going to just back up. But as I said before, the film is 106 17 minutes. So that's about 2 hours approximately. Now, knowing this, I had a great time watching this. I really did. I mean, it was one of those movies that basically has that rule. And I mentioned this before. But not only that, but Hayao Miyazaki, and the way he does things, always has the female in a role that every other female should probably get behind, or possibly, study off that. Because the way he does the female leads in most of his movies, because most of his movies actually have female leads more than male leads. The male characters are usually the follow-up characters, and the females are usually the lead characters. Now, from what I've seen, Nausicaa is seen as a very kind-hearted, beautiful, and very strong young lady. She does not like to fight unless if need be. She will take up arms and defend her land if the need arises. If and when the need arises. That's most of the case with every Miyazaki movie that ever had a female lead. They do the same thing. The only exception was Castle Cagliostro. That was the only exception because it was a Lupin movie. Plus, the princess was a damsel in distress, so that's totally different. However, the story itself was well done. I can't say that the characters were they weren't flat, they weren't they weren't lifeless, they were all in it. It was just, the movie just went with the flow. It just never stopped. So I mean, like I said, it's a movie worth watching if you can find it. Because I'll tell you what, I found this movie at Costco for about $12. And to be honest, I never did see this. I basically passed up on this. I basically passed up on this movie when it came out on Turner Classic Movies once. And when they had Miyazaki Week, I basically missed this one movie. I caught every other movie except this movie. And you know what? I'm glad I saw this movie. I'm really glad I saw this movie. Now, by chance, if you can find this movie, and I do mean, if you can really find this movie, get it. It's worth getting because really, it is worth the money that it entails. Like, if you can find it less than $12, get it. Because, like I said, it's a Miyazaki movie. And it's like this. Excuse me. It says it is his most epic masterpiece. With a movie like this, yes, it is. It is possibly the best movie I've ever seen in a long time. Well, like I said, it's a beautiful movie. I see nothing wrong with the dub version and the sub version, because mostly I watch my movies in sub. I usually watch my movies in sub version. I watch my anime in sub. Anything else, I watch it in English. Now, before I quit this video, there are a lot of Miyazaki movies that I would say are worth hunting and searching. aside from my neighbor Totoro and Nausicaa in the Valley of the Wind. I also recommend that you find Castle in the Sky, Poco Rosso, The Cat Returns, and of course, Castle Cagliostro. If you can find any one of these movies, they're worth a lot to see. Hell, even if you find Howl's Moving Castle and Spirited Away, there are anything from Miyazaki is a great find and it's worth watching at least over and over again. It can be a great date movie. It can be a great movie to watch with friends. It can be a good movie you can watch by yourself before you go to bed. You know, you can just, you know, basically share it with friends. Share it with your loved ones. Hell, get your family to watch it with you. It's a win-win situation. Trust me, with anime such as this, really, you can't go wrong with quality of this caliber. Hell, I wish most of the anime now would be just as good as this right here. I really wish most anime today was like this instead of being so CG and if they weren't so CG and you know, so flashy and everything, and so some I'm sorry to say, but some anime today are kind of like they're half-assed. They're half-assed in animation. In the you know, the designs can look so half-assed, unless if you're looking towards seeing like Full Metal Alchemist or Dragon Ball Z or you know, even Macross. Yes, I said Macross. It's worth looking at though. A Miyazaki movie, it basically says it all right there. It is family entertainment at its finest. It's just as good as E.T., probably better. But then again, you know, like I said, it's worth checking out. So that'll be it for my movie review. Join me next time when my next movie review will be Full Metal Alchemist, The Sacred Star of Milos. So until then, I am the Tenkaichi of Gaming. The Supreme Otaku. And yeah, look for this movie if you can, and look for this movie whenever you can. So with that, folks, that'll do it for this time out for my reviews. So thank you for watching, and see you next time. Until then, Tenkai Muso.